The world has been talking about this controversial decision that was in fact announced by the American Supreme Court overturning the Roe versus Wade judgment. This, in many ways, is now barred the possibility of a safe, medically assisted abortion for many women across the United States of America. In the backdrop of this, the German parliament has now decided to support the right for women to get a safe abortion if they do so want it, by repealing a law which had forbidden doctors from providing information about abortions in Germany. Now, according to the German law, doctors were allowed to perform the termination of a pregnancy, but they were prohibited from giving further details on what the procedure actually involved. Any doctor who offered publicly or advertised abortion services in Germany would have faced penalties of up to 2 years imprisonment. The governing Social Democrats, Liberals, and the Green parties have now voted to remove that clause from the German Criminal Code. Although abortion remains illegal in Germany, women and doctors do not face penalties if the pregnancy poses a health risk or if the abortion is carried out within the first 12 weeks of pregnancy after mandatory counseling. Meanwhile, in the United States of America, at least 36 million women are likely to now lose access to safe, medically assisted abortion after a 50-year-old judgment of Roe versus Wade was repealed by the Supreme Court in a very controversial judgment that has divided the country right down the line. Protests have been witnessed in Washington, D.C., New York, Los Angeles, and several other states as citizens are urging for other people to in fact rise up for women's reproductive rights in the United States of America. WION is now available in your...
All right, shalom to the hopeful elect, Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakah HaKodash. Double honor, as always, them Yad, to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect, Habayath, Madabadah, the house of David, the brothers laboring day in and day out to make their call of election sure, helping seal the elect of the nation of Israel for the return of our Lord Hamashiach Yahushai is at hand, and to the Akim and Agwath, the Akyah wa Agwath who truly listen and believe on the glorious gospel of Yahweh Shem Yahushai that's being preached on the four corners of the earth. Unto you I say shalom. So shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Brother Sakalai coming back with a quick lesson, very brief lesson, all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Lord willing. This lesson is edifying for those that have eyes to see and ears to hear, which is through the Rakah Kodash. So I'm gonna jump right into it through the spirit. And this, this lesson, and as you saw the opening video, of this lesson, really is getting into the fact that, America is Babylon the Great. And the effects of Roe versus Wade is being felt worldwide, which shows you that this is a witness, against America being the wicked of the earth, being the epicenter, of wickedness and sin and iniquity, right? So as we continue on here, I put in Google, and this was a term that I remember from history, reading this, throughout the various history courses that I've taken, or, and what I remember. And the phrase is, when America coughs, the world gets a cold, or when America sneezes, the world gets a cold, right? It says, if you are a student of world affairs, you may know the phrase, when America sneezes, the world catches a cold. What the phrase means, of course, is that a global leader, other nations tend to follow America. What happens in America affects the rest of the world, be it for good or bad. And we see clearly for bad, when the energy and the spirit of America is a spirit of do as thou wilt, do whatever you want to do, right? Pro-choice, meaning a woman can choose what she wants to do. If she wants to abort a child, or if she wants to be a whore, or if she wants to, do whatever it is, or if you want to do whatever it is you want to do, you can do that. If you want to change, your gender, or whatever it is, right? That shows you that the spirit of America is a spirit that promotes death, right? It's anti-life. All of it is anti-Hamashiach. So the effects of Roe versus Wade is being felt worldwide, as we saw in the video, which I'll go back here. It showed what? That you got people in Germany now, you got the German parliament who have, because of what happened in America, in Babylon, now they've changed their laws, to actually supporting, their kinsmen and supporting, the wickedness of Babylon. And that's all prophecy, because America, when America sneezes, the world indeed gets a cold, right? The world follows the ways of America. And that's found right here in Revelation 17, just a few precepts, then we'll close it out. Revelation 17 and verse 1. Now the title here in the blue there is the doom of Babylon, which is the destruction. Revelation 17 and 1, it reads, and there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me. We know 7 means completion, saying unto me, come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. And that great whore is who also sits upon the scarlet covered beast, which is the EU and NATO, right? So that the judgment of the whore is speaking of Babylon the Great. And it says it sitteth upon many waters, because she's in the midst of all the peoples, all the nations. That's her sitting upon many waters, right? She never keepeth at home, as it says in the book of Habakkuk. Revelation 17 and 2. With whom the kings of the earth, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. So all the nations, of the earth, have had to do business with Babylon, have had to take on the policies and the philosophies, which is going also into the wine as we continue to read. And that wine are the philosophies, the practices, right? And so fornication, when you look it up, is unlawful sex. And spiritual fornication goes into idolatry and idol worship. So for the nations to take on the ways of Babylon is a form of idol worship, right? Whether it's democracy, whether it's, the colonial mindset, the mindset of, commerce and capitalism to push forth, the do as thou wilt spirit, the freedom of choice, the freedom of speech, all of these things. This is all of part of what the wine is, which are just the philosophies, ideological ways of thinking, which are all contrary to truth, contrary to righteousness, contrary to the Bible. Once again, anti-Hamashiach is the word to use there, right? So as we continue on, verse 2, Revelation 17 and 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. So all the nations are in bed with Babylon, so to speak, right? They're doing business, they're taking on the practices, they're taking on the ways. And we see clearly Germany, quickly followed suit, in an opposite way, because Babylon is, actually spiraling out of control. So Germany stepped up and said, no, we're going to reaffirm and push forth the energy, the true spirit of Babylon, which is all of this is folly. Truly, women can do whatever they want to do in the Western world. Now it goes on to say, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication, the philosophies. They're drunk, meaning that they are in error. When you look up the word error, it goes into being to go astray, to be drunken, to stagger, to wander, right? Meaning not to be upright, not to be righteous. So this is a wicked nation. Once again, this nation is a cesspool of wickedness, and it promotes nothing but unrighteousness, right? All of the laws are grievous. They decree unrighteous decrees, the scriptures say. So continuing on, it goes on to say, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman, speaking of Babylon, sit upon a scarlet colored beast. And that scarlet colored beast is, the EU and NATO, full of names of blasphemy, which is lies, having 7 heads and 10 horns, right? So that's the OEEC, which was the European Economic Community, which is now the European Union and NATO. So all together, and the woman is sitting on a beast, meaning she's controlling this system of governance over the world, showing you further that America truly is controlling the world. America truly is the what this says here, and I'll leave this here: the fact that America, when America sneezes, the world gets a cold. It pushes forth the energy on the earth. That's why the Lord said that in Hosea that he has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, and those who rule in the land is the wicked, pertaining to Job 9:24. He said, because there's no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of the Most High in the land, because the wicked are bearing rule, as it says in Proverbs 29:2. When the wicked bear rule, the earth mourns, but when the righteous are in authority, the earth rejoices. So because the wicked is bearing rule, then we see clearly that this phrase here is true, right? America being the global leader and all the nations following it, basically following Babylon, the great America, to hell, which is death and destruction. So now I got another precept real quick before I close it out. Once again, this video won't be long. Jeremiah 51:7. It says, Babylon, which is America, hath been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand. It says that made all the earth drunken. The same thing we read going back to Revelation 17, verses 1 and 2. The earth is being drunken. The earth is in a state of drunkenness, which means they're intoxicated by the philosophies, by the practices, the laws, right? Once again, the ideological ways of thinking, the ideological ways of thinking, which is all idolatry. Now, when you go into that idolatry is taking on the practices of Babylon, i.e. the philosophies, and those practices even goes into the culture. And when you go into the culture, it goes into something called ethos. And the ethos, of a nation or of a people or of a society is the characteristics and the spirit of a culture, right? In this case, we're speaking about Western culture, which is the American societal norms. Now, it also goes into the manifestation of its beliefs and aspirations. An example of that is Lady Liberty, right? That's a manifestation of its beliefs and aspirations and things that America promotes and propagates to the world, right? The motto, the land of the free, the home of the brave, is another example. And the great melting pot, a place where all people can come. On Lady Liberty, there's a poem, and it starts off by saying, give me your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, right? Speaking of all the people of the world coming to America and so-called being free, having the freedom to live, the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom to do whatever they want to do, which is once again the Aleister Crowley, do as thou wilt spirit, right? The do as thou wilt spirit that's in the Western world, and that is affecting the whole world. So let's go back to Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon, which is America, have been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, which are the philosophies. Therefore, the nations are mad. They are mad, literally and figuratively. Literally, because these nations, the ways of Babylon have destroyed these nations. They have drawn the nations of the world crazy, right? They've drawn these nations into perdition. And now they've done what? They've taken on the philosophies and taken on the spirit, which is why all these nations, the major players, have ICBMs, because Babylon pushed that energy to the earth, being the sword, being how America is ruled. So they're mad literally and figuratively, and they're literally mad because of the way that the earth is being run, because the earth is destroyed. So the people are destroyed. So as the king, so is the people. And we see clearly that, the king of Babylon, the rulers, the ruling elite, has got the world, going in the way of trying to merge man with machine and implementing now, pushing forth, this NWO, which we understand all of that. And I don't want to get into all the details, but we understand and know, for you brothers and sisters that follow, and have, been preordained to receive this truth, right? To know what's going on in these times. So I just wanted to show the effects of Roe versus Wade worldwide, and how it shows forth as a witness against Babylon the Great, which is America, that it truly is indeed Babylon the Great. So with that, I hope that was edifying to the hopeful elect. Barakateh Yahweh, Barakateh Yahushai, Barakateh Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Kol Haloyim La Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakak Wadash. Double honor as always to Yah, to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Habayath Madabada, the house of David, the brothers laboring day in and day out to make their calling of election sure. Help us seal the elect of the nation of Israel, for the return of our Lord Hamashiach Yahushai is at hand, and to the Akim and Akwath, the Akyah wa Akwath Yah, who truly listen and believe on the glorious gospel of Yahweh Shem Yahushai that's being preached on the four corners of the earth unto you. I say shalom. So shalom to the hopeful elect.